G'day gamers, VaderG here, welcome back to the channel. In this video, going to have a chat about the Tier 4 protocol that we've seen the sneak peek for. Everyone logs into game, everyone sees this type of stuff, everyone goes, wow. So this is really happening. So we're getting a Tier 4 advancement for Tony Stark. Unsure as to what other characters may be getting a Tier 4 in the near future, but it looks like Iron Man is locked in. In this video, just going to do some speculating, right? I'm not going to try build hype. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. Like anyone who follows my channel knows that I don't sugarcoat stuff. I'm not a star agent now. Even when I was star agent, I never sugarcoated stuff, right? So that's one thing to consider when I'm throwing this sort of stuff out there. This is my opinion. It might seem a little bit skeptical, but you really, considering that half of the characters in the game don't have a tier 3 skill, they don't have an awakened skill, even Green Goblin. I mean, this blows my mind. Last update, he got a really great uniform, a rework, but he didn't get an awakened skill, he didn't get a tier 3. Robbie Reyes, this is the sort of stuff I was really hoping for the next few months, is them working on characters with no uniform and no use in the game, and bringing their power level up. And I'm kind of think that was... I'd like to think that was in line with what most people in the game were thinking was going to happen. We're going to grind through, we're going to get some more Awakened characters, we're going to get some more Tier 3 characters, and that's fine, that's cool, right? Because we've been grinding our materials since Story Mode come out. Where you have the auto grind function in story mode, everyone's probably been stockpiling in terms of Essence of Dimension, in terms of Titans component packs, and CCF through World Boss Legend are really easy to obtain these days. But the flip side of all of this is, obviously it's very difficult for Netmarble to monetize this stuff, right? It's easy to farm tier 3 materials. It's easy, well it's kind of less easy, but it's still easy through what do we call it, Squad Battle, to grind tier 3 materials, Awakened materials as well, sorry. Lost my brain a little bit there, but Squad Battle, a good way of grinding Awakened materials. You do it every day, and if you really want to push, then you can sort of get some additional materials. So what they're thinking obviously is, well, all the whales, anyone who has been playing the game for any extended period of time at a daily level, they got all the materials, right? And they've probably seen sales drop. No one's buying the packs, no one's buying these, well, I'm assuming no one's buying these packs, this sort of stuff, where you're buying Chaos and Ornstones, where you're buying some crystals and stuff like that, but where they're trying to push materials out, so this sort of stuff, or this sort of stuff. I would imagine that there's very few people buying these packs. I could be totally wrong, but they got to find another way to monetize. So this is me. I've been in the game for 7 years, right? I've seen this a number of times. I've seen it with Tier 2, seen it with Tier 3, seen it with Awakened characters, and they have a pretty predictable model when they bring out a new iteration of something, right? And we've seen it over and over. I'm not telling you guys who've played this game for any period of time anything new. When Tier 2s come out, the materials were hard to grind. The drops in World Boss Ultimate, I think it was just called World Boss back then, they were heavily RNG based, so you could play whatever. You could play Thanos, you could play Ebony Maw, and the drops were really, really weak in terms of what you would actually get in terms of the Tier 2 materials. I'm talking BAM, Chaos and Ornstone. And it was difficult, and what people would do is they'd get impatient because they'd want to get Corvus Glaive, they'd want to get they'd want to get Ebony Maw, they'd want to get Cull Obsidian, they'd want to get these characters because they were the most characters. The Black Order was super powerful, right? When Tier 2 came out, they were the go-to powerful characters, including Thanos, and it was a grind, and it was a long grind to get Thanos. It was a period of months to grind that, unless you just open your wallet and bought shit. And that's what obviously whales do, and that worked well for Netmarble. We saw exactly the same thing with Tier 3. So Tier 3s come out, and the Tier 3 materials, so Essence of Dimension, the books, the CCF, the Titans component packs, they were quite rare. They were a lot rarer than what they are now. And they were desirable because the characters were quite powerful. The Tier 3 characters were quite powerful in comparison to the Tier 2, on the most part. I'm not going to say all of them, but from the most part, yeah. And so that's how they monetized it. And we saw the same thing with Awakened materials. They did eventually increase the drop rate of Mandalay fragments in Squad Battle, which was a nice touch because they were extremely rare and people were buying that shit. People were buying the stuff. So what are we going to expect when we're going into Tier 4? Given that's what we've experienced over the past 7 years, it's probably pretty predictable that Tier 4 is going to introduce some sort of additional material. Now, it may end up being that, a Tier 4 actually gives a stat bump. So maybe it just gives it, well, I'm sure it'll give a stat bump. Maybe we'll go from level 70 to level 80. I don't know. Maybe it will give an additional skill. So in addition to a Tier 3 skill, maybe there's a Tier 4 skill, or maybe that additional skill is a passive. I don't know. No one at this point knows. The other thing that's been playing in the back of my mind is we've had cards, we've had 5 cards able to be equipped for the longest period of time. Do maybe they add a 6 card slot, which is only available for use by Tier 4 characters. So a Tier 4 card slot, which would probably work pretty well for me because I do have this card that I'd have energy attack on this last roll. Okay, I'd like to, it'd be nice to equip that somewhere. But for the most part, people don't have spare all blue cards laying around in their inventory. So I don't really know how that will go down. But what can we expect? Okay, so let's cut to the chase. We're going to expect Iron Man to be pretty good, pretty decent, but not ridiculously overpowered. This is my opinion. He's going to be good. It's going to create some hype amongst content creators. Content creators are going to say, yeah, okay, this is awesome. You got to have this stuff. Lick Netmarble's ass a little bit. I've got no doubt that will happen slowly over a period of time, over a period of months, and they'll probably make the first one pretty easily obtainable to suck people in to accept the Tier 4 system and to not rebel against it, so to speak. So I'm guessing that's going to happen. So Iron Man will be decent, but nothing outstanding. Subsequent units will probably get harder to grind, but they will get better and better and better. I'm assuming that there's going to be some sort of use of the Tier 3 materials that we have been grinding, that they're not just going to go to waste. So I'm assuming that we're going to be able to combine CCF, or we're going to have to combine CCF, or we're going to have to combine books, or we're going to have to combine, some of this sort of Tier 3 materials. I do anticipate there being another material introduced in the game that will be quite hard to farm, to tempt people to buy it, all right, to sort of shortcut the system and advance their Tier 4 units as quickly as possible, so that there'll be packs in store with this rare material. The material will have erratic drop rates. It will be based on RNG, and that's because they need to get the dopamine hit into the system. They need the drops to be erratic to make it psychologically desirable for the player base. This is my prediction, and whether this is just based on what we've seen. This is kind of, will history repeat itself? My prediction is yes. This is kind of what we're going to get. We're going to get RNG drops of some additional material. This is my prediction. But there will be a sort like an easing of transition. Netmarble are masters of this selling of this change, right? They ease people into it mentally. Generally, I mean, the few times they haven't done that, there has been a rebellion and players have left the game. So that's my honest prediction. Iron Man Tier 4 will be good. He won't be ridiculous, but he will be a step above. He'll be probably pretty easily obtainable, and then it's going to get harder and harder. Rare characters, they will probably have an additional material in addition to whatever the Tier 4 materials are going to be, and there will obviously be another mechanic in the game, so whether it's an extra skill, an extra passive, an extra card slot, I don't know, and I do anticipate some future world boss or some other content to require Tier 4 characters only, because we have seen that time and time again. To make the characters desirable, to make people want to get Tier 4s, they're going to restrict content for some Tier 4 characters. And guys, that's me. This is me just sort of saying, this is where I think it's at. I think Wallet Warriors are going to shine again. I think they're going to rush. They're going to buy all the shit. They're going to buy all the Tier 4 packs. They're going to think they're fucking awesome. And really, they're just dudes fucking around on a mobile phone game, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be advertising that if they're going to a bar or trying to pick women up or trying to impress their friends. I'm pretty sure that most of us keep it some sort of secret that we spend so much time on a phone game. Anyhow, guys, not trying to downgrade the game. I think this game still has a good way to go. I mean, it's positive signs that the Tier 4 has been introduced in a way, but at the same time, in my opinion, way too early. And MODOK agrees. Way too early. Where's his Tier 3? Come on. Alright, guys, that's me over and done with. Hope I mean, we're going to know in 24 hours. This video is going to get jack shit views, but I don't really care. I'm just throwing it out there as my prediction. Thanks, guys.